I started off as a normal day. Got up, I got ready for work, and I got to work, started making my rounds, checking my machines, checking oil levels, stuff like that, just making sure everything's running the way it's supposed to. Well, then I get a call to go check out the trough machine. I get there, I see that one of the hydraulic cylinders needs to be replaced, so I start working on that. Everything seems to be going fine. Had it locked out, tagged out. I get the cylinder replaced. I start running the machine, checking it out, making sure it's gonna go back into production and not have any issues. Well, during that, one of the parts got jammed. So I locked it back out, tagged it out, and started working on trying to free up that jam. And the way this machine works, every time one part finishes, it'll eject it, it drops it into a basket, and then it hits a switch that tells it that it's okay to run the next part. Well, as I was working on it, when I finally got the part free, it fell and hit that switch. It shouldn't, with it locked out and tagged out, it shouldn't have been able to do anything, but there was a wiring issue. And so it hit that switch and the machine came on and tried to run apart. Well, I wasn't fast enough to get out of the way. It hurt at first, but pretty quickly I just went numb and I couldn't feel it anymore. And about that time I looked up and my plant manager was walking towards me. So I waved him over, told him what was going on, and he didn't even know what was happening because I was just so calm. I wasn't yelling, screaming in pain or anything. It's just, I guess I went into shock. They had a wheelchair ready for me. They sat me down, secured everything so they could transport me. And then they loaded me, took me into the parking lot, put me in an ambulance, and they drove around the block, basically about a 2-minute drive to this open field. They landed in a field at a high school. I was still conscious and aware of what was going on, but it just, I don't know, I just didn't really have anything going through my mind other than, I guess, the shock of it all was setting in. And so we get to the hospital and we land on the roof. And as they're taking me out, they get me out of the chopper onto a gurney and they're wheeling me into the doors. And as soon as we got to the inside of the hospital, the anesthesiologist and my surgeon were both standing there waiting for me. The first time I remember actually waking up and being aware, I talked to my dad. My dad was in the room, and I looked over at my arm, and it's in an external fixator. They got it hung, kind of mounted up in the air a little bit above my body, and I've got this big metal case around my arm, and these pins going through it. But I look over, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but I'm talking to my dad, and I made a joke, about being one-handed, or I don't remember exactly what it was. But he was not ready. He wasn't ready for that. He was not at that point yet. Now we can look back and joke about it. The way I look at it is, it happened. There's no way to take it back. So all we can do is move forward. I lost my thumb initially, but they were able to save these 4 fingers. They had to fuse the wrist, so I didn't have a lot of function. So from there, we got with a occupational therapist and a couple of different PTs to do physical therapy and stuff like that. And for the next year, I went to physical therapy 3 times a week. After going through all the physical therapy and trying to get function out of my hand, eventually, after all that, all I could really do was barely move my pinky a little bit. So, and I was still in pain all the time. I just said it was uncomfortable. I couldn't really do anything with the hand the way it was. So my doctor and I talked about possibly doing an amputation and using a prosthetic to get more function. After the amputation, I don't have any pain at all. Not associated with that. I have the occasional phantom pain, but it's rare. With the prosthetic, now I'm even able to do way more than what I could. I can go back to work, I can actually do certain things. And I actually did go back to work, but I wasn't able to do my normal job. They put me at a desk job. I'm much more of a hands-on person. I like getting down and actually troubleshooting and being able to repair it afterwards. They'd bring me the problem if they were having trouble trying to figure it out. I'd help them troubleshoot it, but then from there, it was in their hands. When I talked to Ben, he thought he could help me. He told me about this prosthetic adapter that would allow me to gain more independence and safely use power tools. I agreed to come on and help him work on it. Before knowing about the prosthetic adapter, I didn't even really attempt to use power tools anymore. I didn't feel safe using them or even comfortable using them because I didn't want something to go wrong and I either hurt the one good hand that I do have left or hurt myself in some other way. But with the prosthetic adapter, I do feel safe using it and it's comfortable. I can use it, and it's learning how to use it after already being comfortable and familiar with the hook. Going to the adapter, it didn't take long at all, just a few hours, and I was able to use it proficiently. I felt like I could actually go out and not only use a power tool, but actually use it and do a job with it. I could take it to a job site with me and actually be efficient.